What you're looking at right now is my beautiful citrus trees. Got a Valencia and a grapefruit tree, and they look real good right now. But last year, it was looking pretty rough. Last year, my trees got absolutely destroyed, and that was because the pests love the citrus. So did a couple things to make sure this year wasn't the same outcome. So let's talk about some of them. One of the really common things you're going to find on citrus are aphids, and they end up sucking the sap right out of these leaves. And because of that, you get this sticky honeydew-like substance, and that eventually turns into like a black sooty mold, which isn't necessarily the worst thing. The sooty mold may block a little photosynthesis, but the real problem here is the aphids attacking your plants. If it gets as bad on your trees as it did on mine last year, first thing you're going to want to do is trim away the affected areas, assuming you're not trimming away more than 30-40% of your tree. Now, this is not a complete solve. This is not going to solve your long-term issues, but it will get rid of a large sum of bugs. So the next thing you're going to need to do is treat some of the eggs and whatever bugs you've missed that are laying around. And for that, there's a pretty good array of products that you can use. My favorite right now is horticultural oil, and every year you're probably going to want to switch between, say, like a horticultural oil and a neem oil, so you're not treating the bugs with the same type of insecticide. Both of these are organic, but still you don't want to give them the chance to get used to any of them. Horticultural oil works by suffocating bugs as well as their eggs, and that's the big deal, because even if we cut off all the damage that we can see, there's still going to be guaranteed eggs everywhere all over this tree, and you do not want the population to explode again next year. So we go and we spray the undersides of the leaves especially, but we want to cover as much area as possible. Now, this is going to kill beneficial insects as well, but this is really a major reset for me. These trees got completely overrun, and we'll talk about repopulating and making sure that this is a solid, healthy ecosystem. As always, make sure to read the instructions. These horticultural oils need to be sprayed between certain temperatures, and that's because if they don't evaporate, then they can cause some harm to your tree. This is citrus leaf miner damage. The leaf miner lays its eggs on the underside of the leaves, and the larva ends up tunneling through the leaves. They become distorted, they look awful, and this is a real tragedy when you have that beautiful new green growth coming in. This is a time lapse of it eating. You can see it moving there. It appears to have taken breaks, so here it is again. And it's very subtle, but you'll see it's tunneling through this leaf. At the bottom of this absolute catastrophe right here, you'll see a spider mite starting to crawl his way out. These can be controlled with horticultural oil as well, though it's important to note that different insecticides work better on different bugs, and for spider mites and thrips, you might want to try using spinosad. It's an organic insecticide. It's derived from the fermented juices of a soil bacterium. And last but not least, brown soft scale. This stuff is nasty. I was done filming when I found this, but needless to say, got rid of it. But what about the future, you say? I don't want to spend time, money, every single year spraying my fruit trees. So what is the solution? Turns out, it's bugs. Just good ones. Like these green lacewing eggs. These guys will grow up to prey on all those nasty little bugs we've seen earlier, and they're great little predators. And to complement these guys, bought some ladybugs. Ladybugs aren't just cute little friends, they actually are ruthless predators. And it's not so much the ladybugs themselves, but the ladybug larvae. They get in there and they attack soft-bodied insects, spider mites, aphids, mealybugs, thrips, all sorts of good stuff. And finally, the unsung heroes, and that's the beneficial nematodes. You will never see these guys because they live in the soil and they are microscopic. These worms are parasitic in nature. They enter insects, release bacteria that kills them, and then the juveniles feed on them. They mate, and the cycle continues. Talk about a long-term solution. Got my nematodes right here. Gonna put them in the pump sprayer with some water, and then we're just gonna spray them all over the property. So let's do it. If you made it this far, hopefully you're enjoying this. Maybe even consider smashing that subscribe. Hit the notification bell, maybe leave me a comment, a like. It would be much appreciated. I also appreciate how easy it is to mix all this up. Pretty simple. There's no specific quantity of water to nematodes as long as you're getting them wet, but definitely sprays easier with the more water you have. It's also beneficial to make sure your soil is pre-moistened. You don't want this mixture to just run off. All right, time to spray. Just going around, making sure to get some decent coverage. I want this stuff everywhere, and then water it in a little more. Again, trying not to make this run off, just want to penetrate that soil. One section down, plenty more to go. A quick word about ants. You've got to get rid of the ants in your orchard. They feed off the secretions of when the bad bugs attack the trees, and because of that, they protect the bugs. Get rid of them. There you go. Hopefully that was pretty helpful. Maybe learn a thing or two. But if you got a better suggestion for any of these issues, I'd love to hear them. Leave a comment. Let me know what you do at home. And I hope to see you guys again sometime soon.